There are few things more stressful for a homeowner than looking up and seeing a brown water stain expanding across the ceiling. Your first instinct is usually based on gravity. Water falls straight down, so the hole in the roof must be directly above the center of that stain. That instinct creates a strong urge to grab a ladder, find the nearest suspect spot on the roof over that room, and cover it in caulk, hoping you've solved the problem. But look at this diagram showing how water actually moves through a roof system. It might enter at a small flashing gap here, travel down the slanted rafter for several feet, and finally drip onto the drywall way over here. If you patch the shingles directly above the wet ceiling, you leave the actual entry point completely open. You waste money on a placebo repair while hidden rot continues to accelerate in your attic. In Mount Pleasant, the environment complicates things further. We deal with heavy humidity, sudden tropical downpours, and intense coastal gusts. Protecting a home in this climate requires managing the combined impact of gravity, horizontal air pressure, and shifting temperatures. This flowchart breaks down our three enemies. To figure out what's attacking your ceiling, ask, does moisture appear during calm rain, windy storms, or dry weather? A true leak, wind-driven rain, and condensation produce the same stain, but require entirely different repairs. Accurate diagnosis means trading the urge for a quick patch for the patience of comparing your interior moisture to exterior weather behavior. Let's start with a true leak. This is a physical failure in the roof assembly that relies purely on gravity to pull water downward into the house. We are looking for obvious material defects here: a torn shingle, a cracked rubber pipe boot, or a puncture from a fallen branch. Because it relies strictly on gravity, a true leak is entirely predictable. Water will enter that exact same spot whenever enough straight-down rain falls on the roof. If you trace it in the attic, you'll usually find a localized trail. It often looks like a narrow, clean track through the attic dust, starting directly below the broken component. This type of failure will never self-correct. It mandates physical replacement of the broken roofing materials. If your ceiling stain expands reliably during a calm shower with zero wind, the evidence points straight to a physical roof system defect. Now compare that to wind-driven rain. High-pressure coastal gusts force water to travel sideways, or even curl backward and upward against gravity. The roof might look completely intact, but intense wind pressure can exploit tiny gaps in siding transitions, ridge vents, or step flashing that stay completely dry on a normal day. This creates a maddening inconsistency. A northeast-facing dormer might leak heavily during a nor'easter, yet remain completely dry during severe thunderstorms blowing in from the south. The Federal Emergency Management Agency explicitly warns that damaged or slightly separated flashing heavily increases the risk of this pressure-based water intrusion. When inspecting the attic after a windy storm, look for dampness near gables, soffits, or exterior walls, rather than a single drip path in the center of the room. If your leak only appears when the storm blows from one specific direction, patching the middle of the roof won't help. You need an edge, vent, or flashing correction. The third culprit operates without a single drop of rain. Attic condensation is a systemic envelope issue, driven by humidity and temperature. In our hot, humid climate, moisture-heavy air gets trapped. When that air hits a cold surface, like a running air conditioning duct or a metal nail, it hits its dew point, turning vapor into liquid droplets. According to the Department of Energy, air movement carries more than 98% of the water vapor that travels through building cavities. Because it travels on the air, the attic evidence is diffuse. You'll find widespread droplets, rusted nail tips, sweating ducts, and damp insulation spread across a broad area. Buying new shingles will not stop a condensation stain. Resolving it requires addressing attic ventilation, ceiling ductwork, or fixing improper exhaust routing. This matrix compares the three problems side by side. First, look at the timing trigger. True leaks occur during substantial rain. Wind-driven leaks require directional gusts, and condensation happens during humid or dry weather. Next are the moisture patterns in the attic. True leaks leave a localized trail, wind-driven rain dampens areas near edges and flashing, and condensation leaves widespread droplets and rust. Finally, the exterior evidence. A true leak shows a physical defect, wind-driven rain exposes vulnerable gaps, and condensation happens even with zero roof damage. To accurately gather this data, take a pencil and lightly trace the outer edge of your ceiling stain. Log the exact time it expands, the intensity of the rain, and the wind direction. Building this empirical data log transforms you from a reactive patcher into an informed asset protector, preventing costly misdiagnoses. When the weather clears up and the ceiling stain dries to a light brown ring, it's very easy to ignore the problem until the next storm. But a dry surface on your drywall does not mean the wall assembly, the wood decking, or the insulation behind it is actually dry. Wet insulation holds moisture against your structural framing for weeks. This slowly deteriorates the drywall, corrodes fasteners, and supports dangerous microbial growth out of sight. Treating an intermittent wind-driven leak or a seasonal condensation as a low priority trades short-term convenience for severe structural decay. This scorecard shows exactly when to bring in an expert. If you have a recurring stain, severely wet insulation, moisture near electrical systems, or unsafe roof access, a professional diagnostic is required. Professionals use moisture meters and localized, controlled water testing to trace the exact root path. That precision beats guessing and caulking every time. Hand your storm data log over to Master Roof Mount Pleasant. They will use your observations to execute a targeted repair that permanently stops the moisture pathway. Accurate, evidence-based diagnosis is the only way to protect your home's value and secure long-term peace of mind in the Lowcountry climate.